For you and all your research, and obviously a baseball fan's dream, this must be a dream come true to see not only fall league games, but players of this caliber in an all-star game, huh?
Yeah, it is. It's my first time in the fall league. I went last night to go see Bryce Harper. That was very exciting. And then tonight just to see all these guys, and even behind home plate is kind of like Dave, kind of like a Baseball America directory come to life. You just see all these scouts' faces you see in the book, and then there they are in person. Chuck Lamar and Charlie Kerfeld. Always fun to see Charlie not getting a beer poured over his head like in the old days back in Houston. But it's great to see all these guys and see their perspective on these players and talk to them before the game and see what they're looking for and see what they find important and what they find impressive.
As I've looked back, you know, my son came up playing in the amateur ranks, and to realize how important Baseball America has become as an informational source for amateur athletics and also through the minor leagues.
Well, we try. I really appreciate the compliment. But it's great what we get to do as a guy like Josh Fields. We have scouting reports on him from high school. We have scouting reports on him from college, and now we have him in pro ball. And I got a chance to see him in the College World Series. There's that breaking ball. He shows it every time. He just gets the easy ground ball to second base. And he was nasty in the College World Series 2 years ago, leading Georgia when they lost to Fresno State. And he still got that breaking ball, even though he's adjusted his mechanics. You can see he's a little less violent than he was as an amateur. So it's fun to watch that progression catch up with some of these players. And to see a guy like Brandon Belt coming to the plate right now. We had him in our top 60 in high school as a pitcher. And Randy Knorr was joking, you know, he told Randy Knorr, I can give you an inning if you need it tonight. Let's hope we don't get to that 11th, 12th inning where we need Brandon Belt.
No, is it true? I remember reading in some of the reports that this guy was throwing 97 miles an hour as a high school pitcher.
I remember 94. It wouldn't shock me. And he's got a pitcher's build. I mean, somebody at the game last night remarked that he looked kind of from behind like Madison Bumgarner. And he kind of does, broad shoulders. But he does not need to pitch. His future is as a hitter, and I had a scout tell me before the game tonight he thought he was the best hitter in the league, and somebody said it last night too. I'd be interested to see if he can get here with up in the count 3-0 if he gets a pitch to drive and see what he can do. It's an all-star game. Let's see the guys hit.
Well, we saw him have a tremendous at-bat against the left-hander Montgomery in that first AB. I believe he went 10 pitches. He eventually worked a walk as he does right now. But you can tell he has a great sense of the strike zone. He has a really good awareness up there as he takes his approach and hits the ball to all fields.
We gave our perspective. Dave had a conversation with Austin before the game and provided some great insights. Not even 22 years old yet. As that fastball in, not getting the corners. What do you see in Austin Romine?
I think that what you just said gets forgotten a lot. His birthday later this month will be 22, but he played the whole year at 21 in Double-A. You know, he's going to be a streaky offensive player. You can see when he sets up, he's a leg kick hitter. So he's always going to be a little streaky. There are going to be times where he gets off on his timing. But I think he's going to hit about 260, and I think he's going to have some power.
Pretty piece of hitting right back through the box. A line drive into center field. The throw is off the mark. A run will score. Austin Romine with his 8th RBI here in the Arizona Fall League, and you can't draw it up better than that. Certainly your perspective, not only on a handful of guys, a small amount of them from the 2010 draft, getting the opportunity to maybe play just a bit here. You mentioned Bryce Harper, but certainly that 2009 draft last year, some of the players getting to play, carrying on to this year represented.
Yeah, well, we've seen a couple of them already in the game tonight with Zach Cox for the 2010 draft, like you talked about. But 2009, you've got Dustin Ackley and Jason Kipnis, and Ackley, that's a good sign. We'll see him hit third in this inning. I think it's a good sign for Dusty that he's struggled early in his 2010 season, but he's really come on here in the Fall League. He was second overall. It's always going to be tough. He was drafted one spot behind Steven Strasburg. Anybody who got drafted right after Strasburg is always going to get compared to Strasburg. And then Tony Sanchez, 4th overall, just a great personality. He has a catcher's personality, Dave. I'm not sure if you had a chance to talk to Tony yet, but he's a leader, a take-charge guy, and we've had some 70 grades thrown around on his receiving and his throwing. That's near the top of the scouting scale. Jared Mitchell, who played both football and baseball at LSU, and Jason Kipnis, who, like Ackley, played a different position in college and now being asked as a pro to play second base.
Okay, I have to stop you real quick for our casual viewers. Even though this is the MLB Network,
sure.
When you say he is a 70 grade, what does that mean? We know what it means, but explain to our viewers.
For whatever reason, the scale is only 20 to 80. I guess there are no hundreds, although I would say that Aroldis Chapman is 100. But at 80 is the top of the scale and of any tools ranking. And if you're saying he's a 70, that means he's well above average. As a defender, both as a receiver, and if you're talking about his throwing, you're talking about how fast he really throws the ball to second base.
Dustin Ackley, 22 years old. Winston-Salem, North Carolina.
Very handsy swing, very hands-oriented swing. And I think the big question with Dustin is going to be, how much power is he going to hit for, and can he stick at second base? And there were some Chase Utley comparisons thrown on him in college. I never quite saw the Utley comparison because I never quite saw that kind of thunder in his hands. But he can hit. I mean, I know he only hit 267 this year. He had a terrible April, but I think they also really challenged him. Double-A, like you said, his debut in the Double-A Southern League. That's not an easy league to hit in. And then midway through the season, right when he starts to get his legs under him, they move him up to Triple-A. Again, not an easy league to hit in.
You were talking about guys that are fatigued, not only for playing a full minor league season, but these 5 players, I know USA Baseball very proud, but these 5 players not only playing regular seasons, fall league seasons, but in between playing to qualify for the Pan Am.
Yeah, and the Pan Am qualifier, really the big point of that was to qualify for a World Cup and the Pan American Games next year for USA Baseball. But you also had the experience of playing in international baseball. You know, those guys all played Cuba. Every game the U.S. plays Cuba matters, and they beat Cuba in the last game of the second round. Chris Archer of the Cubs system threw 6 2-hit scoreless innings and struck out 10. Justin DeFreitas, who was pictured there, pitched in that game, as is Carter out of the White Sox organization, who finished up. So I just think the experience you get playing in international baseball in a game that matters like that, where every game matters, and you wear the USA on your chest. Every player I've ever talked to talks about how that has helped their development. But for Hosmer's case, you went from Wilmington, Delaware, to Northwest Arkansas, to Cary, North Carolina for the trials, to Puerto Rico, and to Arizona. It's a long year.
That's a lot of frequent flyer miles right there.
Usually the one thing with guys like Brock is who put up those big save numbers. You know, most of your big league closers were not closers in the minor leagues. A lot of those guys, you know, Mariano Rivera was a starter throughout the minor leagues. I think of a guy like a Keith Folk who wrapped up the 2004 World Series for the Red Sox. And he didn't start a game in the minor leagues. Joe Nathan, who was an infielder, a converted guy. You know, Troy Percival back in the day, a converted guy. So usually your minor league closers do not become big league closers.
Broken bat roller, infield was in, fires in time. That runner still is at third. That's that closer's mentality, by the way. And there's that movement on the pitches from the right arm of Brock.
That's been a great program that MLB has provided. The RBI program, the academy over there in Los Angeles.
And it's growing. They're building one in Houston. I think that one actually is already open. And they announced one in Philadelphia this year. So the RBI program and these urban youth academies are growing, and Major League Baseball spending more resources on it.
That runner stays at third. Brock, sorry guys, I claimed him. He's my new favorite player.